For the mountains shall depart, and the hills shall be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, saith the Lord that hath mercy on thee. Isaiah 54:10. So, Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is going to be an easy video for me to make, because it's not. Back-to-back negative videos is annoying. It is. But I think this one is more annoying because I genuinely love this movie. I am the target demographic for this movie. I love Deadpool as a character, and I definitely love Wolverine more so. So seeing them two both have a leading role in this movie and to have it mean something for both characters is interesting. But I do want to touch on
Pause.
certain things about the movie and even fan perception about the movie after the fact that I do want to touch on.
Pause.
So for one, I do enjoy the overall thought of Wolverine and Deadpool returning to the screens after years for both characters. Personally, of course, it was much shorter for Deadpool, and of course, it was much longer for Logan. But again, I love it. I love the costume. I love the freaking fan service with everything involving his character. And with Wade, I do feel like it was a step down. Personally, not only did you have in both movies one of the driving forces of Deadpool, he doesn't care about the whole red tape, the whole moral quandary that superheroes find themselves, arguing and debating about with other superheroes, especially with the villains as well. And personally, that part of his character is why I liked him so much. He was a rebel. He didn't care. He was the underdog. He did things his own way, but he still did the right thing, just in a dirty way. As said himself in the second movie. I'm only specifically talking about the movie version of these characters. I want to stay away from the comics because I want to really lock in on the versions of characters that we know as far as one cohesive thread, right? And for me personally, having Wade not only just fall back on that for the sake of, oh, it's being made and produced by Kevin Feige, or at least he's okay with this movie being R-rated, which is the real situation. Personally, it's weird to me, and it just feels weird. He's cracking jokes about the MCU. He's cracking jokes about the low points it's had and all of those things. And I enjoy the jokes. Believe me, most jokes in this movie hit for me. But the biggest part of Wade's character was his romance with Vanessa. That was literally his whole driving force for the past two movies. And again, Hollywood has this way of desexifying, male and female characters, especially when it comes to movies like this. And it's weird to me because it's like, for some reason, romance is like the last thing people want to make movies about anymore. And you see that with this movie. Like, why is the driving force for Deadpool just being the Avengers or being part of the Avengers when he never cared, even when it came to the X-Men? So you're telling me he cares more about the Avengers than the X-Men? I just can't, considering the freaking ties that Wolverine and Deadpool have in the comics, and also just in general in the movie universe, if you want to count X-Men Origins Wolverine, which, by the way, I like that movie. I don't care what a lot of people say. I have my own opinions. So I think for me personally, just having Deadpool care just really bothers me. It's almost like a betrayal to his character. Now, the whole idea of the anchor being is stupid because by that logic, literally every universe is dying. There's literally no reason why that makes any sense. And the idea of the sacred timeline was always stupid to me. All of it's just stupid. And the very fact that the TVA don't want Wade for his timeline meddling, but they want him more for the fact that he's special, aka Kevin Feige knows that he makes money, is cynical, but I do understand that at the end of the day, this is still a company. And the problem I have with a lot of fans when they talk about this movie, when they talk about the negatives of this movie, they seem to forget that even the movies they love from way back when, the reason all of these movies were popular, reasons why fans even cared, they talk about how the soul of the character has just gone away, everything's just corporatized and sterilized, and this movie is the biggest example of that, all these things. And I'm like, at the end of the day, sometimes it's okay to have winks and nods. Sometimes it's okay to have movies that exist just to make the fans happy. And I don't see what's wrong with that. It'd be more disrespectful if they just forgotten about all of the things that these fans wanted. Literally. If we've never got to seeing him in the iconic suit. So shout out goes out to Smashball, and pretty much he sums up my entire thoughts on this chapter. I'm not gonna lie to you. Dude, it's crazy. Pause the read. Now let's get back into the video. Peace. for the fans who really wanted to see him in the suit, for the fans that wanted to see Logan alive and well again, honestly. Like, and what's wrong with that? And people were saying that, like, oh, it's cheap, that, you know, at the end of the day, oh, Laura, it was just, it just felt useless. It felt like just a cheap way to, you know, reinvigorate the love people have for Logan, especially how egregious they were with, you know, shoehorning that into Logan's, you know. And it's weird that he even had any real emotional tie to her at all. Like, I don't see how he was just listening to her in general. He literally shouldn't care. Like, he never met this woman a day in his life. And I will say that is a flaw of this movie, I will say. Even when you had Gambit just run up on Wolverine and it was just nothing. Like, he said, oh, we never had a Wolverine here. That's history there. Gambit was an X-Man. You have two X-Men. You have literally two X-Men on the same team in the same movie, and they have nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about besides making jokes about alcoholism. That's it. What are you talking about? You could argue all the other cameos were just whatever, but this is your teammate. This is someone I know you know. Like, I don't understand. This movie has basically been shoving it in our faces that this version of Wolverine is the version of Wolverine, costume and all. And when I say the version, I mean he's literally like every version of Wolverine we've seen in the movies rolled into one and slapped a yellow suit on. And it's perfect. And the thing that I don't like about fans when it comes to this movie is like, oh, this Logan is just like the same version of Wolverine. And what's wrong with that? Is this not what fans wanted? Logan to not die, to see Wolverine on screen again in whatever form. Like, bro, they didn't just give us one version of Wolverine in the suit. They gave us so many because they listened to what we wanted. And I don't see the problem. There's so many things to poke a hole in this movie. People having these cynical views on this movie, saying that it's cheap, saying it's lazy, saying other film writers and filmmakers who made the previous films that these cameos came from, oh, they did it better, or like they have better cinematography. Does it really matter? They're back, and I'm pretty sure everyone's still flipped out. Even the most cynical Marvel fan. Even myself. I've made videos shitting on the MCU, and I will still continue to do so when it is warranted. The things I didn't like, I'm speaking on them now because this movie is not perfect, no. But as far as me as a Wolverine fan, I got to see my favorite freaking X-Man come back on the screen and wreck shit with the suit. In different variations of the suit. We got him in sleeveless and we got him in full suit. How could I want anything more than that with cowl? Like, what are we talking about here? I can't pretend like that didn't do anything for me. But to say this movie has no flaws at all is insane when considering the main character, or at least the primary main character of the movie, his entire motivation completely go against everything he stands for as a character. That is something I cannot ignore personally.